Thanks for staying with us. Join us to discuss their role in basic education, literacy, maternal and child health, economic and community development is Mr. Jide Ogunleye, entrepreneur and Rotary member. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me this
Congratulations on your role as the president.
Thank you very much.
So tell us a bit about the investment that has been put in basic education, because obviously many people realize that basic education is a core part of education. And in the past, local government was responsible for that, but unfortunately, they were not able to sustain that. And private sector, in some ways, have tried to help to bridge that gap. But what do you think? What have you done so far? And what other projects are you hoping to have to build the basic education, especially in Lagos State?
Okay, thank you very much. Quite a lot has been done as far as basic education is concerned. In my club, in particular, we've built and developed ICT laboratories across various schools in Lagos State. Case in point will be Okera Grammar School and Ajuwon High School. As we speak, I'm currently embarking on a new project, a state-of-the-art ICT laboratory at Ifako, at Ajuwon High School, where we're going to be building an ICT facility and powering it with solar. Because one of the ICT laboratory we delivered some years ago, when we went back to do our checks, we realized that they had issues with powering those computers, buying fuel and things like that. So this Rotary year that I'm running as president of my club, one of the things that we're looking to do is to build a state-of-the-art ICT laboratory and then equipping it with solar for sustainability. In terms of the investment, overall, I can't speak to the specifics because it's Rotary International and I'm just part of a district in Nigeria, but Rotary has spent over $2 billion in doing projects across all the various areas of focus. Across health, across basic education, across disease prevention, and just to mention a few. My club in the last 20 years, I'm the 21st president of my club, in the last 20 years we spent a total of about $70,000 across the various projects that we're running.
Where does this money come from?
Thank you very much for that.
Trust YK too.
So the money comes from kind-hearted individuals like myself, who in Rotary you serve with your 3 T's. We call it time, talent, and treasure. So Rotarians all over the world put their money together, put their time together, and try to create impact, across the world. This particular project that I'm embarking on, the ICT that I spoke about, connects to me passionately because I'm an IT person and I know the impact that technology has had in my life and the impact it can have in children's life. Earlier this year, I went with my kids to Ifako Ajuwon General Secondary School, and I went with my kids to do some projects, and then I was interacting with these kids in GSS 1, GSS 2. It's a public school, and I was talking with them like, oh, what do you want to be when you grow up? And nobody said anything around information technology and stuff. But you guys have an ICT laboratory here. They said they don't have an ICT laboratory, that the lab that they have is for the senior secondary school, which we donated about 6 years ago. So we had thought that was for the entire school. And then I made a promise to them in March that I'll soon become president of that club. And when I become president, I promise that I'm going to build them a state-of-the-art ICT laboratory. I have a lot of friends that have donated money towards this because money also comes from non-members. Money comes from members and non-members. So I have friends that have said, okay, Jide, I'm going to support you with 5 computers. I'm going to support you with 2 computers. Members saying, okay, you know what, as a group of friends, I'll support with 15 computers. So the money comes from members and friends of Rotary.
Okay, so Rotary does a lot of impactful work around the country, and we can see them, everywhere you go. But it breaks my heart to see sometimes when they're put into, how will I say, public sector use. For instance, you building one in a public school, you see over time they will be mismanaged, except, you have a strong follow-up mechanism. Why not, I've heard why you're doing this for the school, but why not do it in a private sector way? For instance, build it outside the school, have it managed by a private sector so that it sustains itself over time. For instance, if you go to Ojo, you won't find a public library anywhere anymore. And it breaks, because I used to use the public library in Ojo, and I don't see one anymore. Information technology, like you mentioned, tech and all of that, is a new way to go. It would be nice to see one of such put outside the school, maybe in private sector and accessible by everybody, not just the school, and used by everybody. What do you think?
I think that's a brilliant idea. Rotary is big on sustainability, and we do a lot of monitoring and evaluation of all our projects. Recall that I said that we had an ICT laboratory we had done about 6 years ago that is still functioning. So Rotary is one of the most accountable organizations in the world. I'll give you an example of one of the projects that we did in healthcare. About 5 years ago, we built a state-of-the-art neonatal building at Ifako General Hospital. I was there last month for World Premature Day, and I got a very interesting statistics that indicated that our project is saving over 110,000 babies every year, who typically would have ordinarily died. So that building has been there 6 years, is still operational. So we take monitoring and control and evaluation very seriously. But it's a lovely idea, and I believe others are listening. It's something we could consider if a private sector would do it better. But sustainability is a critical part of the projects that we do. The healthcare project that I spoke about, we got a grant of $17,000, to equip. We built it with our money as members, but we got a global grant of $17,000 to equip it. And it's been on there for about 5 years, and it's still doing very well because of monitoring and control.
Okay, so for me, I always feel like there's all this, the Rotary, there are other Lions, all these other clubs that the activities being carried out seem to fulfill, so that you feel like you have done, like people want to feel like they've done something, and sometimes they're not really reaching out to the core needs of people around. So I'm really happy with this data you've given concerning how the health intervention is saving lives. But can you give, because the project you're passionate about is ICT, the ICT place that you're trying to push. What will be the impact? What do you foresee? How many lives would that place, if put together, will be impacted, and how? And just talk about that.
Yeah. Okay. So over the next 3 to 5 years, if that system is in place, just the way we've envisaged it, and we're looking at 5 to 10,000 impact, because you'd have people going GS1, GS2, GS3, passing through that facility. So impact is key for us. But beyond ICT, I'm passionate about everything, not just ICT. But impact is critical to us. I'll tell you a quick story of why we did the neonatal building. About 10 years ago, someone walked into our club, and then, she was downcast. I had not joined at the time. And someone asked her, what's wrong with you? She said, that there's this family that has been expectant for about 8 years, and they eventually just had a baby. But unfortunately, these babies are most likely going to die. And I said, why? She said, because there are no incubators in place for those babies. 2 days after, we followed up, and then those babies had died. And from that point on, my club decided that they would always donate incubators to Ifako General Hospital. About 6 years ago, we came up with the idea of, let's build a neonatal building, that would just focus on neonats, and then that's why we built that. While that building was being built, I was the project coordinator at the time. I met a friend, and like, oh, how you doing? She said, her sister just had a baby up. A few days after I met her, I saw, like, how's your sister? She said she lost the baby, and they had waited for like 5 years. But guess what? That baby would have lived if our project was ready. That's the building that now saves 110,000 babies every year.
Fantastic. So futuristically, where do you hope to take your club to, and what other projects are you hoping to do aside from what you've listed so far? So
thank you so much. So futuristically, we are looking at getting another global grant. I spoke about a global grant for this building, and we're looking at equipping at least 5-6 more secondary schools within Lagos State. I understand now that we have to get approvals from Lagos State before we can get into those schools. So we are looking at creating more ICT laboratories. We're looking at also doing another neonatal project, because that building in Ifako General Hospital, we have people coming from Badagry, people coming from Ikorodu, people coming from Ogun State to use that same facility. So we are looking at replicating the success of that in other parts of Lagos or other parts of the country. So more impactful projects is what we're looking for.
Congratulations and well done. And we'll
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Right, that's all we can take on this segment. When we come back, we continue with the show. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.